Okay, welcome back again. Looks like second episode in a row. We're going to be starting with Carter Diaz. But yeah, welcome back to Star Trek Resurgence. Last episode, we figured out what the plot is. Two alien species are in conflict over dilithium. That's found on one species' moon. And yeah, we have to go in and find a peaceful resolution. So let's get into it. Love that. Love when ships just warp in like that. Honestly, it's just always a cool shot.
Mr. Diaz, I understand you have already discussed the warp drive failure with Ambassador Spock?
I have.
It is imperative that the Ambassador's shuttle be flight ready. I need you both to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he encountered.
I'm surprised, Commander. I thought you would have wanted to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle yourself.
I respect the Ambassador and his many accomplishments, but I do not derive any satisfaction from interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow transubstantiated through its association with him.
Fair.
Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with. I am not the chief engineer of this shuttlecraft.
The Ambassador asked me to take a look, and I'm ready to crack this thing open.
Good. You could learn from Mr. Diaz's focus.
I'll take notes.
Then I will leave you to it. Make note of any abnormalities in your report. Carry on.
It seems like he's warming up to us.
Yeah.
One thing that anyway, proved of Carter's eagerness to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle. One thing I was thinking, like, this is very mission critical. You know, it's this is the mission. Finding peace is the mission, and Spock and Captain Solano are going to be using that shuttle to get there. This is mission critical stuff. It kind of would have made sense for the chief engineer to take a look at that stuff. I mean, I don't know. Am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong. I think I'm right. I think it would have made more sense for Chovak to be taking a look at the shuttle. Yes, he's got many very important duties, but like I said, mission critical. He's just leaving it to a couple petty officers.
Even Chovak has to look at that face and know you've earned some real respect. And I have to admit that I owe you one. You were right to make me go first. I don't know what I was thinking. You did the smart thing.
You've pulled me out of trouble how many times? Call it even.
Okay. At the very least, maybe I can track down that bottle of Saurian brandy you're still on the hook for. But first, we have work to do.
I like how quick she was to accept, yeah, okay, I'm not on the hook. Etzelar was reminded how much she values her friendship with Carter when he said she doesn't owe him anything for letting her go first on the hull. I like how quick she was to be like, he was like, I owe you. Let's just call it even. Yeah, okay, that sounds good for me.
Ready to go?
All set. Let's run the diagnostic.
Why do I feel like this is going to be... This is different. They changed her, like, normally it'd be like the the circles you have to move around as you're moving the hand, and it's just looks funny to me.
So, I know about your talk with Miranda.
You do?
She sent me a Priority 1 dispatch right after your conversation. I'm happy for you. Both of you.
Thanks.
But don't leave her
But
out.
I'm only going to tell you this once. Don't screw this up. Because I would be very unhappy if you tried this out and then, I don't know, 6 weeks or 6 days later, I have to start splitting holidays between the two of you. All
Fair.
because things went south and you're not on speaking terms. That just isn't gonna work for me.
That's fair.
And I know you'll respect that.
You really don't believe in me, huh?
It's not you. Or her. Just running the numbers, and things don't work out more often than they do.
Fair.
I like my friends, and I like our group. I don't want to lose that.
That's fair.
Is that thing done yet?
Yeah, it's wrapping up. Let's see. The relays along the primary EPS are blown, but the backup relays are all intact.
An EPS overload from the warp drive could cause that. But how did the shuttle end up dead in the water?
Huh. Well, maybe the ship's data recorder can tell us something.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's true. Relationships among coworkers, they will often fail, and they will often cause drama in the workplace. So that's, you know, it's totally fair that she's like, please don't let that happen.
Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code.
It's possible. Per the amended Cochrane equation of 2053, subspace curvature must conform to spatial lensing along the vessel's course during warp travel to prevent structural shearing when engaging a warp field. Starfleet navigational systems, something, and newer, are calculated to enforce subspace variance tolerances. A bypass of these tolerances can result in unstable warp system operations. Refer to Kaczynski warp equations of 2305 for subspace variance exceptions. Hey, Kaczynski. He was in one of the he was in an episode from the first season of Star Trek Next Generation. Early episode. I think relatively early at least. Episode with the Travelers, they're like this. Kaczynski presented himself as this genius when it comes to the warp technology, and then it turned out that, oh hey, it was his assistant who was behind most of his best successes. But his assistant, the Traveler, did say that that Kaczynski actually is smarter than he seems, does actually know a lot. So, good for him for...
The warp field became inverted suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look.
Warp field inversion. Under normal operating conditions, the warp field generates on a plane parallel to the operating axis of the vessel. The warp field collimates from the warp pylons in a field pattern designated by the coil distribution, aligned in a concentric spheroid pattern. A warp field inversion denotes a spheroid field pattern in a convex alignment to the operating axis of the vessel. Purposefully generating an inverted warp field can counter subspace drag and instability along the spacetime gradient. Warning: consult Starfleet field space guidelines before attempting a manual inversion of the warp generation system. Unless it's an emergency and you have to be the main character in one of the shows, and then you can just wing it because you know what to do.
There was a complete warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation.
Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
I couldn't read the other one.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
They're all the same. Subspace variance out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked, or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer. You want to check the warp coils or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
I'll go with the warp coils.
I'll check the nacelles for a cracked coil.
Somehow that seems vaguely less tedious than checking computers. Your tricorder can record and analyze data. Looking through it will reveal the unseen. Use X to equip or holster your tricorder. Hold right trigger to scan glowing objects. You must be close to some objects to scan them. Watch the frame of the screen to see if you're too far away. I just hit not seeing it, so I guess it's fine. Okay, so I can't actually scan on this side. Right here, just see if there's seems like probably not. Yeah, it seems like there's nothing to do around here. May as well mention the first episode I did apparently miss a couple of little things over here. I think that screen. There was a probe I picked up. There was I think on these things there's like every place for everything and everything in its place or something like that. Some objects to scan will activate a deep scan. During a deep scan, use the bumpers to switch between different scan modes and search for glowing objects. The mode indicators in the tricorder will blink if there's an object defined in that mode. Scan all objects, frame, change color. Hold the left trigger to analyze the data and finish the scan. Static field. In their standby state, warp coils produce a residual electromagnetic field. No deviations detected. Polyfarenite depositions. The leading coils show evidence of routine maintenance to repair microabrasion from neutrino interactions. Definitely looks like there's nothing in Bionic. Which is surprising. I actually did genuinely expect it.
I checked every coil on the port nacelle for imbalances. If any coil in either engine were cracked, I would have detected it. So, it must be the navigation array.
Except it's not. Checked and double-checked.
Well, the readings don't lie.
Here comes the security detail for the way team.
Head in the game. Oh.
Hey,
Hey.
I'm not here.
girl.
we're escorting the negotiating
Or her.
team to the surface as soon as they come down from the bridge.
Poor Ed's
I don't want to interrupt some important work. I was just hoping to see you before I go. The captain and the others will be here any minute now. Should be an interesting ride down to the surface.
Come on, I'm never too busy to make time for you.
That's not true.
No. But I am glad you came by.
Now that's more accurate.
I gotta be precise with you, huh?
Hey, Maris. Aren't these those button pushers you're always hanging out with?
And you're the phaser jockeys we always beat in Parisi squares, right?
All aboard for Hotari!
That another one of the captain's railroad things?
Gotta be. I just usually zone out by the time he gets to the whole, steam engines were the warp drives of their day part. Catch y'all later.
Fair enough. He likes his trains.
You don't want to miss your train.
I do have to go.
Obviously.
Not gonna lie, I'd rather not leave right now. More important things on my mind.
Go on, do your job. I'll be right here waiting for you when you get back.
You better be.
I decided not to go. I was tempted,
Be seeing you.
but it seemed a little bit early in the relationship for that, you know? We just started dating, and yeah, it's just like this starting making out with her in the shuttle bay in front of the captain, in front of Spock. Come on. Loved Carter's romantic side when they were saying goodbye in the docking bay.
Etzelar de Diaz. If you could float back down to reality, we still have a ways to go.
Okay, so they're not using Spock's shuttle. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, where were we?
So, the warp coils in the navigation array are fine, but the nav computer doesn't seem to think so.
I'm out of ideas short of field stripping the shuttle from bow to stern.
You wanna take this out of the shuttle and throw it on the bench?
Oh, real hands-on maintenance. I like it. Okay, the nav computer is patched into the ship.
The ship's computer can double-check our work. If the shuttle's nav computer is putting out false data, we'll know it.
Let's run through the shuttle's logs again.
Running now. Same. Warp field inversion and a cascade failure. However, the Resolute computer doesn't show the same subspace variance.
We're in the same conditions that the shuttle was in when it failed. Why wouldn't the ship's computer get a matching result?
What if the subspace variance was a momentary occurrence?
That's a possibility, and it would explain why the simulation under our current sensor readings failed to reproduce the issue.
But a subspace anomaly strong enough to cause a warp field collapse would leave graviton ripples for days.
Let's run with the momentary subspace variance theory for now. Roll forward to the shuttle's attempt to re-engage the warp drive. We need the conditions of space around the shuttle at the moment of warp failure.
Resuming simulation.
I'm still kind of inclined towards sabotage, but...
Error in warp field calculation. Cochrane formula variables are out of range.
That right there. Take the shuttle sensor data from that moment.
Computer, why did the warp field calculation fail?
Warp field pressure returned non-orthogonal. Results are undefined.
That doesn't help.
Non-orthogonal?
What if we use a different ship?
Non-orthogonal? Okay, so orthogonal means of or involving right angles. At right angles. So, it was non-right angles then. And, while I'm at this, the ship's computer is voiced by Julianne Grossman. She's voiced Hippolyta, Queen Hippolyta, in quite a few of DC's animated projects. Other than that, just bits and pieces here and there, I guess. Not gonna lie. Always makes me sad when to hear a computer voiced by anyone other than Majel Barrett. She was the voice of the computers for so long. From the original series all the way up to... all the way up to her death. I didn't watch Enterprise. I'm not sure how often the computer voice was voiced in Enterprise. But, yeah, I mean, she was the voice of Star Trek's computers. So, yeah, she was, it's just weird hearing, it's just always going to be weird hearing computers in Star Trek voiced by someone else. It's always going to be weird to me not hearing Barrett voicing the computers.
Put the Resolute into the simulation instead of the shuttle.
Yeah, it should warp just fine. Unless... Computer, run the simulation with the Resolute.
Resolute simulated.
Computer, give me manual control on the warp power.
Static field intensity, warp 1.1. 1.2. 0.3. Warp pressure is destabilizing. Error in warp field calculation. The warp drive has experienced a system-wide cascade failure. Warp field collapsed. Subspace variance is out of tolerance. Cochrane formula results are undefined.
Bingo.
What-o?
The same moment when the shuttle failed to warp, so did the ship. Whatever happened to the shuttle just happened to us.
Okay, so I guess it's not. I guess it wasn't sabotage. I was wrong. That's got to be cause for concern, though. So, like, I also kind of like her not knowing what bingo is. It's a human thing. She's not human. She's Trill. You know, the hell does she know about some weird ass uh old Earth game? Makes for a cute moment. Anyway, I also want to. I actually just also want to note that I actually do really like Roseman's work as a computer. She does. It's just weirdly. It's weirdly good computer cadence and intonation that she gives.
The Resolute will not sustain warp.
We can't leave Hotari space.
Not in a hurry, anyway. I expect a new title thing by now. Interesting. Oh, seat of power. There we go. Stop
Ambassador
being a tourist,
Spock,
Jara.
Captain Solano, welcome to Hotari. We are honored you've come. My name is Tylos Altaris, Minister of Diplomatic Affairs.
The honor is ours, and this is Commander Jara Rydick, first officer aboard the USS Resolute. You'll find she has a keen mind, and unique insight into the dynamics between the Hotari and the Illidians.
We are honored to be here as representatives of the Federation.
I'm so glad.
These must be the representatives of the mighty Federation.
Yep.
The reigning authority in the galaxy. Or so we've been led to believe. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But, either way, we're grateful you've made the time to come to our little corner of the universe.
And you are?
This is Galvin, and this is Citron, the heroes of the revolt in the mines.
So, Tylus, voiced by Amanda Celine Miller. She voices Sailor Jupiter in a lot of the more recent stuff. Oh, she did a couple voices in She-Ra and the Princess of Power, Flutterina, specifically, and okay. This kind of tells you a little bit about She-Ra and the Princess of Power. One of the characters she voiced in that is just referred to as ripped older woman, which, yeah, yeah, I mean that definitely tells you a lot about it. I feel like. I don't know. Maybe it's just me that finds that weirdly hilarious. But yeah, she seems to do a lot of voices. She's pretty successful. Which, pretty great for her. Oh, actually, goes back to the 1995 Sailor Moon show. Yeah, she's actually been voicing Sailor Jupiter since 1995, which is yeah. So she's definitely had a great career. Well, that actually doesn't sound right. Susan Roman voiced Sailor Jupiter in the Deke dub, which would have been the '90s version. Amanda Miller took over in the Viz redub. Anyway, yeah, she's been around for a good few years now, and has seems to be pretty successful. So good on her. Uh, oh, what else did we meet? Was it Sidron or Galvin? I think Galvin was the one who we've heard talk. Yeah. So Galvin was the one we heard talk. He is voiced by Elias Tufexis. Um, he voiced Penguin in the Gotham Knights game in 2022. Leonidas and Nicolaus in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Ragnarok and the Major in Fortnite. Oh, Adam Jensen in Deus Ex Human Revolution: The Missing Link. Oh, and Deus Ex Human. Yeah, so Adam Jensen in Deus Ex Human Revolution, which is was a pretty big role. Uh, Federico Auditore de Firenze in Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. So yeah, he's actually done some pretty notable work. And then Sidron, we haven't actually heard voice yet, so I won't get her to speak.
Let's hope this is the last time we ever have to come here.
If you'll excuse me.
That guy sounds like a jerk.
I think we're about to begin.
Did you hear the arrogance from that guy? I don't know what we're walking into here, but that guy was something.
Something about his tone tells me this won't be easy.
That was my sense as well.
I doubt he speaks for all of Hotari, so I would urge patience until we speak with their queen.
get a choice whether to... Yeah, I'm gonna show deference.
Ambassador Spock, welcome to Holtari Prime.
The Queen, voiced by Deborah Wilson, who also voices Dr. Duvall, the chief medical officer. We met her in the last episode, so I'm not going to go through all Wilson's notable roles again. Yeah.
The honor is mine, Your Majesty.
That the Federation would send one of their most respected representatives is not only an honor to the Hotari people and their queen, but a recognition of our stature and importance.
Let's get on with it, shall we? With all due respect to the Federation and their ambassador, they have no authority here. We are not members of their alliance. We are not subject to their rule, nor yours. We demand the immediate return of all mining operations to Elydian control, as it has been for centuries and will be for centuries more. That has always been our understanding.
That understanding has changed.
Then you invite war.
And if you cannot remain silent, you will be silenced. But his point is well taken.
I like her.
What is the Federation's interest in this matter? Perhaps you would have us trade one oppressor for another?
The Federation remains neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution of this conflict. We are here at your request, Your Majesty.
For now.
Saying this wouldn't be easy was an understatement. I thought they wanted us here.
Was there something you wanted to say, Captain?
Oh, no. My apologies.
And what about the Kobliad?
She's not part
She can speak for herself, can't she? Then let her.
All right. She knows I'm Copliad, too. She's well informed.
Now then, what is your name?
Commander Jara Rydek, Your Majesty.
Being a Kobliad, you would know better than anyone. Your people suffered brutal treatment at the hands of the Cardassians. Their injustice towards the Kobliad is as unimaginable as it is unforgivable. Not unlike how we have been treated by the Elydians.
As much as they'd have you believe they are the victims here, remember it was the Hotari who attacked us. Hundreds of innocent Elydians were slaughtered without mercy in those mines.
The blood is on their hands, not ours.
Quiet! If after all the Kobliad suffered, you finally had the chance to right that wrong, to get out from under their control, would you take it? Or would you negotiate a peace?
Peace, I guess.
There is no remedy for what the Kobliad suffered. And I fear who we might have become in pursuit of it. There is no justice if the oppressed become the oppressor. So I would willingly accept a peaceful resolution if it were offered. That is the real opportunity.
Perhaps, Commander Rydek. Perhaps. Unfortunately, that was not the case, was it?
No, it was not.
Peace is often elusive to those who need it most. The Federation is the most powerful, most advanced alliance in the galaxy. It's widely known we have an abundance of dilithium in our mines. And it's in your interest to secure a steady supply.
Your Majesty, if I may.
Ambassador Spock would have us believe you're here as a neutral party in the interest of peace. So why are you really here? I want the truth, not your Federation rhetoric.
True.
It's possible the Federation has an interest in both peace and securing a steady source of dilithium. One does not preclude or prevent the other. But that's just my personal opinion.
Given the Federation has done business with the Elidians for decades, I would agree. It's entirely possible, if not highly likely.
What they haven't said, but cannot deny, is a simple truth. The dilithium trade would not and will no longer exist without Elidian involvement.
May as well mention we don't know who these people are. We don't know who these voice actors are. For some reason, the list of voice actors I'm looking at does not include any of the Elidian voice actors. They don't even seem to get named here. So, they would, I guess, probably just be other voices, probably. I would assume, anyway. Suppose maybe not. It's none of them have actually been given names yet, so I can't actually say if if we know the voice actors for any of them. Anyway, thought Jara handled a complex situation as well as could be expected when the Hotari Queen put her on the spot in the Queen's chamber. Thought Jara performed well under pressure when she was being questioned by the Hotari Queen. I thought I did well.
We created it for the benefit of everyone, especially the Hotari.
Nah.
We've given them warp technology. We've let them share in the profits. We've made their lives infinitely better than before dilithium was discovered. All of that goes away if the Federation turns a blind eye to their treachery.
That is enough of your lies! The Hotari are quite capable of running the mines. We've done so for centuries. So tell me, who deserves control of the dilithium trade and the mines on Tau? Who should the Federation recognize? The Hotari or the Elidians? It can only be one or the other, not both.
If I have to choose only one, then it would have to be the Hotari.
Well said. How could the just and wise Federation make any other choice?
Not
This
my
is an
choice.
outrage. The Federation has lost all credibility.
The mines are ours. Lydia will not be deterred. We will take back our mines by any means necessary.
Then you will see more blood spilled.
I am more than willing to address your concerns, Your Majesty. Yours as well, Representative. But I suggest we could have a more productive conversation with a smaller group. Perhaps only the most essential representatives.
Well done, Spock.
I suppose there is some sense to that. I hope we meet again, Jara Ryder.
So do I. You're what might be referred to as a boss bitch. And I respect that.
Spock and I will cover everything on the diplomatic front. You make nice with the locals and see if you can get some answers. We need to find out why the Hotari are so willing to risk war. What happened in those mines?
Captain and Ambassador have it handled. I've got my own mission.
So yeah, if you hold down the left trigger, it shows. I didn't realize this when I was recording the first episode, but if you hold down the left trigger, it shows where objects of points of interest are. That's why I missed a couple in the first episode. I should be pretty good not to miss any going forward.
Soothing.
Since now I know that I can just do this. Citron!
Commander, I'm glad you've chosen to side with the Hotari. I knew the Federation would see through the Elidians' baseless claims and protect the interests of my people.
To be clear, I'm not on either side of this conflict. Our only interest is peace.
I will keep that in mind.
So Citron here is voiced by Keith Silverstein, who also happens to voice Westbrook, Ben Westbrook, the science officer, Commander Westbrook, the science officer. I actually don't remember if I mentioned Westbrook's voice actor before. He's somebody who seems to get around. Seems to have done quite a lot of voice work actually. I'm just seeing if there's anything that really stands out among his voice acting. Deep Sea King in One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows. Lupin in 2019 Lupin movie and a couple of 2019 Lupin movies. So I guess he's done. Yeah, he's voiced Lupin in a few things. Professor Soichi Tomo in Sailor Moon, Sailor Stars in 2019. Zack in Dead or Alive 6, and possibly others. Simon Belmont in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Wolfram in My Hero Academia 2 Heroes. Oh, Hammerhead in the 2018 Spider-Man game, which was, a fairly, that was a fairly major character in that game. Yeah, he's just been around for. He just seems to do a lot of work. Uh, Yeah, Sailor Moon Crystal. He voiced Sailor Moon's dad and Professor Tomo, Sailor Saturn's dad. Lex Luthor in Batman Arkham Knights. I didn't realize that Lex Luthor had a role in that one. I never played or watched the Let's Play of that game, so I had no idea he was Lex Luthor was in that in any of the Batman games. Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff. Bunch of voices in Skyrim. Just like so many voices in Skyrim. Yeah. Fair number of voices in Bleach. Yeah, again, he's just been around for a while, done a lot of fair bit of stuff. And anyway, yeah, so I figure keep it honest with the dude. You know, let him know that whatever my personal opinions as member of the as being there as officer of the Federation, I'm not taking sides.
I assume you were there the day the mines were seized from the Illidians.
Not seized. Reclaimed.
Fair.
And restored to their rightful owners. Yes, I was there. We had to be decisive. Before the Illidians could even realize their worst nightmare was upon them.
I'm curious why the Illidians haven't fought back. They have the ability to retake the mines anytime they want.
Ability is one thing. Courage is another. The Illidians know any hostile action on their part will not end well. They respect one thing above all else, and that is force. The greater the force, the more certain the outcome. Any talk of making peace is just that, and worth little without the strength to secure it. Which makes me wonder about your ship, the Resolute. Undoubtedly the Federation's finest warship.
Yeah,
ready to contend with anything the Illidians might have in store.
Not quite.
Or is that not true? Maybe I've misjudged it.
It wasn't designed as a warship. More for scientific research and exploration.
But the Federation must have ships designed for war.
Technically, they're Starfleet ships representing the Federation. But yes.
I see.
Sidron.
A pleasure meeting you, Commander. I'm sure we'll cross paths again.
Hope so. You're big and cool, and I'm not gonna lie. The voice, the swagger. I could definitely see people finding him kind of sexy, to be honest. I mean, I don't know if anyone does, but I'm just saying, I could definitely see it. Tyler, we talked to her earlier, I think.
Commander Rydek?
Yep.
I'm encouraged to see the Federation supporting my people. I'm afraid of what might happen without your help.
If anyone deserves thanks, it's Ambassador Spock. No one is more invested in negotiating a peaceful settlement to this conflict than he is.
I'm so glad. We need his help before the situation escalates further than it already has. It's been very trying. I saw you speaking with Sidron, our national hero. I'm curious, what did he say?
He seems to be of the opinion that negotiating for peace is a waste of time.
Because force is the only blunt instrument he understands. He's a miner, not a diplomat. For the first time in our history, the Hotari have the upper hand. We see ourselves as strong instead of downtrodden. New voices have risen up. Old voices shouted down. Galvin and Sidron have become national heroes. Now, they have the Queen's ear. Better or worse, depending on your perspective.
I take it they're against a negotiated peace with the Illidians.
Heroes tend to want more of what made them heroic.
Not
If
wrong.
it were up to them, they'd wage all-out war and bring ruin upon us all. My fear has been that the Illidians will launch an attack and crush us. You've seen their starship, no doubt. They could have retaken the mines whenever they wanted to, but it never happened. And as strange as this may sound, I'd almost say they're afraid. I just don't know what they're afraid of. It's still the same bluster and bravado you would expect from them. But it has no teeth. Like they're afraid of what might happen.
Do you think it has something to do with the ion storm? Right now, it's stronger than ever, isn't it?
It's entirely possible. I'm not a scientist, but I do know the storm has knocked out all kinds of systems. So maybe the Illidians weren't willing to risk their ships, given all the interference.
She doesn't seem certain. She doesn't seem convinced of this.
Since the day of the revolt, Galvin has seized control of the mines and restricted all access. No one's allowed without his personal authorization.
That's
And
suspicious.
they've taken over a section of the palace with just as much secrecy and security. I'm told it could be something they brought back from the mines. I've made inquiries, but everyone pretends it doesn't exist. I strongly suspect they're hiding something.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. But that's what concerns me. Whatever they're hiding, it can't be good.
How can we know?
I'd better see what's happening.
Do you think you can find out what they're hiding? I need to see proof of something before I can make my case to the Federation.
I can try, but even if I found it, I might not know what to make of it.
Take this. You can use it to capture whatever you find, and then send it to me.
Thank you. I will let you know what I find. And I look forward to our meeting again.
You two. Because you seem...
Sorry, I couldn't help but notice you were speaking with the Hotari this whole time.
They were closer.
I figured in the interest of fairness, I should offer another perspective.
Of course.
I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know, but these negotiations rely on the Federation's neutrality, as does any hope you might have for a supply of dilithium in the future. So, why you would choose to side with the Hotari escapes me. Without Illidian involvement, there is no dilithium trade. But clearly, you weren't aware.
We are and will remain completely neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution to this conflict.
As is ours. Of course, the question is, at what price?
Can I get your name, dude?
Major Salit Arminta, Special Attaché, Illidian Armed Forces.
Do we know this guy's... Do I know who voiced this guy? That looks like a no. It doesn't seem like his voice actor is listed on the place where I'm looking. Let me check somewhere else. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who voices this guy.
Pleasure to meet you, Commander. I have my issues with the Hotari, but I have to give them some credit. They know how to seize an opportunity. Inciting an uprising the same day as a massive once-in-a-lifetime ion storm.
Our assumption was that this storm was just an anomaly.
Yes, a very convenient anomaly. At least that was what we were told. Of course, I wasn't there. But who am I to say otherwise?
You sound skeptical.
Well, the official story is that it was the storm that enabled the revolt. How else do a bunch of unarmed, unorganized miners seize control of an entire moon, much less thousands of mines? But I've talked to people who were there. They tell a different story. They say they're lucky to have escaped with their lives. That it was more than just the storm. That somehow the miners were able to harness the energy from the storm. I know it sounds crazy. I'm not even sure I believe it myself. But that's what they said.
You just answered your own question. How do a group of miners do something that in theory can't be done? That's how. Harnessing the storm.
But even if it's true, how does that even happen?
You tell me.
If you'll excuse me, Commander Ryder.
I hope I get to look around just a little bit more. I guess I will get to.
They seem proud of their culture. Pride can lead to rash action.
Not wrong.
Such rough terrain. No wonder the Hotari are so tough.
And I believe that's everything I can look at.
Well, that was a disaster.
What happened?
The Hotari refused to concede anything, so the Elydians stormed out.
First day.
The Hotari did not invite us here as peacekeepers. I hope your efforts were more fruitful than ours.
First days of negotiations are always rough.
Gravitational harmonics failing to resolve. Warp bubble stability degrading. Increase output to maximum.
Increasing warp output to maximum.
It's happening again.
It is evident that presently the Resolute cannot achieve warp propulsion.
Since our diagnostics rule out any problems with our warp systems or anything about the ship, The problem appears to be the fabric of space itself.
Space itself? You're saying something about this region of space prevents warp travel?
Prevents it, or can't sustain it.
However improbable, that appears to be the case.
We need to know more.
The storm didn't stop us from leaving space dock and traveling here. But could it still be causing this interference with warp travel?
We must follow sound investigatory principles. Do not let an assumed conclusion drive your analysis.
Sometimes we need a little inspired thinking, Mr. Chovak. Captain Solano is on his way back from the negotiations, and I want to have some answers for him when he gets here.
Indeed. Given the facts at hand, we may be able to deploy subspace probes around the ship to construct a clearer picture of the phenomenon.
Around the ship. I'll prep a shuttle.
Alright, and this is the right time to end this episode then. Before we get into the next part of the next mission. So, some interesting stuff, some interesting interesting ideas going on here. Little hints of a larger plot. The one Elidian we spoke to seemed like a pretty decent dude. I mean, a jerk, still a jerk, but not terrible. And he raises an interesting idea. And yeah, the some good voice acting. The voice acting remains really good. And yeah, some interesting stuff. I like the investigation aspects. I like, I much prefer that over, like if I'm playing a Star Trek game, I would much rather diplomacy and science and investigation over pew pew, Uh, so yeah, I'm enjoying it. Having a good time with this game. And I hope you're enjoying watching. So that's this episode done, and I'll see you in the next one.